Well, hey, good evening, guys. I hope you can hear me right now. Uh, no sound. Okay, we're having audio problems on this end, so give me just a minute. Give me just a minute. You guys hear my voice? Okay, you guys hear my voice? Okay. I have an idea. Okay, you guys can hear me. Cool. What I'm going to do. So yeah, the music was down. That's so weird. But again, it's December, and as you guys know, this whole system gets cursed in December, even when I don't do anything to it. But let me do this. Welcome to the show, because we have a ton of new subscribers since the last time, guys. Since the last time we talked about this, I think about 300 new people have subscribed to the show. That's no lie. I think we picked up like 300 subscribers. Welcome one and all to you guys. Welcome to the show. And thank you for clicking the subscribe button. I really, really appreciate it. Typically, I try to make sure that our that our audio and our video is working 100% for our guests, for myself. And tonight it's kind of bitten us in the butt. I haven't done anything different. I have changed none of my settings, and yet here we are. So all I can do is just kind of wing it, as I always do. You guys know how professional this is not. So I'm gonna try. Let's see. Let me see here. See, that says monitor and output, but it's not playing. Desktop audio is not. I have a love-hate relationship with OBS. So, folks, if you're just stopping by for the first time, if you just saw this pop up, audio issues aside, do me a favor. Do me a favor and click the subscribe button, click the bell icon for notifications. The audio issues always seem to clear up in January. But anyway, this is one of 3 live streams I am doing in December. Starting, no, not starting, but continuing on the 21st, I will have Rob Kuntz with us. Rob will be here, and we will be talking to him about basically anything Rob wants to talk about. Having Rob on the show will be a college level education in TTRPG knowledge. Bring your notebooks and bring your questions. So that is on the 21st. Now, one thing I will tell you about that, Rob is, of course, in Corsica. So what that means is there's going to be a time difference. I don't want to keep Rob up until 4 in the morning. Okay, like have him start at 2 in the morning and keep him up till like 4:30 in the morning. We're probably going to go. It'll be early day. It'll be an early day stream when we have Rob here on the 21st to make things work a little bit better for him. So I'm looking forward to that. And of course, guys, Christmas night, myself, Mrs. the Dungeon Delver, we're going to be here. We're going to be spreading some holiday cheer. We might even have some guests stop in then too. You're quite welcome, Praxis. You're quite welcome for the shorts, man. But we are also going to have our drawing for the 4 original D&D replica sets. That's right. One lucky Patreon, or not one, 4 lucky patrons or YouTube channel members are going to receive each one replica wood grain OD&D set and a replica of chainmail. I've been excited about this for months and months and months since the summertime. So we're gonna be spinning the big old wheel, and they'll all have a shot at that. So I'm super duper excited, and I hope you guys are too. Thank you, Bob. I love the shorts too, and YouTube apparently does as well, and so do the people who've been watching them. So but that's all in the future. Okay, that's all in the future. I'm not going to talk about what we did on the previous live stream because that was weeks ago. What I do want to talk about is my guest tonight, and I am keeping my fingers crossed that we've been able to figure out how to sort our audio. So without further ado, I want to bring on a guy who has been out there doing old school stuff for decades now. I mean, literally since before we knew the term OSR, this guy has been swinging for the fences in creating content. I don't mean creating content like I do here. I mean creating something you can actually hold in your hands and use at your tables. Oh, Jorge, you want the short on Kenders? I'll give that to you real quick. Did you know Kenders should all be thrown into a sphere of annihilation? It's true. That's what should happen to them. I hate those disgusting little freaks. There you go. A little vertical. You can clip that. But no, seriously, my guest tonight, we ran into each other at EggCon and had a pretty good time. We kicked some Eurasians right the heck out of Viking territory, playing chainmail with Paul Stormberg, and it was a ton of fun. It was an absolute gas. But I have Bob Gnarly to blame for bringing us together on this wonderful evening. Look, without further ado, it's clear that I am really rusty. This is what happens when I take time off. All right, I start sounding like I did in 2020. I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest on the stage. So everybody, please put your hands together for the one and only Mr. Ignatius Umlaut. Ignatius.
Hello.
Hello. You can hear me finally.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No, I cannot hear you. Of course I can hear you.
Oh, you can? Okay. You got me. All right. Very good.
First of all, let me just say I absolutely love your headgear. It takes a distinct person to pull off a stroker cap, and you, my friend, you have got the flat cap down to a science. How have you been?
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be on your show. I've been following your work for a very long time also. And, those of us who try to hold out for the old ways, we should stick together. And so here we are. And so it's wonderful to be on your show. Thanks for having me.
Excellent, man. Excellent. That's wonderful. I do my part, dude. I do my part. And, I think, what you've been doing with the zine, and oh my gosh, we're gonna dive into the fight on zine goodness here in just a few minutes. Yes, that gorgeous new issue. Is that a stack of them? Do you have like an entire like over by your shoulder?
I do have an entire stack here. Yeah. I ordered a bunch. I'm gonna have them at Page, so I ordered a bunch. I'm going to order some more probably.
Excellent.
Well, people are buying them, so that's great,
No, that is wonderful news. And I want to get into the, kicking our feet up and telling tales out of school and that sort of thing. But I want to give Fight on its due. So let's start at the beginning. So tell us about the genesis of Fight On and how you do it all, man.
Okay. Well, I could start the story in a lot of different places, but I'll start most directly with around, well, 3E. 3.0, very exciting to a lot of people, somewhat divisive. You know, some people have always been 1E or bust, 0E or bust, and I've kind of come around to that view, but there were a lot of us who were at least dipping our toes into 3.0. I do think Tweet and Cook and Williams in a way did a very nice job with that game. You couldn't see what it was going to become at the beginning. Anyway, we tried. It worked out for a little while, and then it didn't work anymore. And Wizards, in my opinion, kept taking the game in a direction that was not really what we loved about Dungeons and Dragons. You know, there were also a lot of young guys, you know, who were discovering the game and getting into it. And so there's this kind of creative ferment happening across back then the scene. You know, now it's Discord and these podcasts, which are awesome, but back then it was really all about the bulletin boards. And so, you know, a group of very different people who all had a kind of love of old school gaming. You know, a lot of us met on the Necromancer Games message boards for 3E. Some of us met, you know, Dragon's Foot, a few guys from Knights and Knaves. Although I got to say, the Knights and Knaves guys have always been 1E stalwarts. I mean, one thing I will give those guys credits for.
Let me tell you something. Jerry Mapes, God rest his soul. Jerry was a wonderful, wonderful man. Out of nowhere, I was a Dragon's Foot kind of guy, and people were like, "Yeah, don't go over to Knights and Knaves, man. They're weirdos over there. They're like these hardcore lunatics. They'll like dox you. They'll chase you around the internet and hound you if you don't sound off and say you love First Edition." And then, like, literally in the middle of that poop storm, I get the friendliest little message from Jerry Mapes. He's like, "Hey man, you know, you like 1E a lot. Why don't you come over and check out Knights and Knaves?" And I did, and I was like, this is where I should have been from the get-go. You know?
Yeah, it's I mean, the guys are tough, they're hardcore, they're 1E purists, but it's a great group, you know. I like that group. I think sometimes I'd like both that group and the broader kind of OE group. So I've got a foot in both camps, but anyway, so there's this creative ferment, and a lot of us are thinking, you know what, we need to just go all the way back to the roots, even in some, you know, before 1E, and just like what made this game so wonderful and special in the OE days, the Holmes days, the early 1E days, you know, this amazing period. You know, it's like for gamers, I mean, at least for gamers of my generation, it's almost like the way old hippies talk about the 60s, you know. It's like,
you know, you want to have that Hunter S. Thompson, you know, you can see where the water broke.
At least in the West Coast scene I was in, there was a little bit of cultural overlap, actually, but anyway, so it just kind of happened. Marv Bragg, Finarvin started those OD&D boards. A lot of the guys from these different boards came there to talk about OD&D. And then a group of us, you know, there's a bunch of different people, even in the first issue. I mean, people who were very consistent, you know, Jeff Reintz, James Malazewski, you know, Gabor, several other people kind of just came in, and we mostly knew each other from gaming, you know, and everybody was writing good stuff. And we did this first issue that was just like 30 pages, and people liked it. So I said, okay, let's keep going with this. Second issue was 88 pages. Also at the time, I was also kind of very into gaming theory, partly because I was trying to play D&D with third edition, and I was trying to understand what's happening. Why is my game not working? So, you know, I went all the way to RPG Net and The Forge and all these other sites to talk gaming theory and try to figure out why my beloved D&D wasn't working the way it always did.
Let me tell you something. The game theory days, that like 2.5 year span, that was a weird time.
It was very weird.
It was like to discover how this thing works, we must beat it with a hammer. And I'm like, can we not just enjoy it? No,
Yeah.
we have to smash it to pieces, guys.
I know. But I mean, I got some good out of that. I try to get some good out of everything. And anyway,
I've got a perfect example of that. Have you ever seen a TSR pub from like 1975 called Bio One?
I have not actually seen it physically, but I know of its existence.
It's terrible. I'll send you a PDF because I don't want you to spend any money on it. Bio One is a hyper realistic gunfight, not gunfight, not in the sense of okay, check your range, windage, that sort of thing. I mean, literally, what happens when a bullet hits a body? That's literally all it is. All 6 pages of that rule book. And it's like, okay, you got shot in the side of the torso. You got shot in the upper side of the torso, but did you get shot in the lower upper side of the torso, the middle upper side of the torso, or the upper side? It's awful.
It's coming back to me now. I think there was a game master who used this briefly. It's
awful. But the point that I'm making to back you up is this: the grid that they have representing the human body is in 1/4-inch squares. It's got kind of a crude outlet. I can use that as a dungeon map.
That's great.
Proving your point that you can find good in any gaming product if you look hard enough.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, one good that I found is that some people from that theory crowd and even the story games crowd made some kind of interesting contributions to early fight-ons. So we had a real good mix. We had OE and 1E stalwarts. We had guys who had gone out into 3E. I think a lot of what crystallized it, though, is that there were a lot of people who were trying to keep playing D&D with 3rd edition, and then 4th edition came out, and everybody looked at that, and it's like, my joke was it's sort of like the Star Trek Enterprise of D&D editions, right? I mean, I'm sure there's some 4E fans out there. I apologize. I didn't get... Anyway, we're just like, we can't do this. We can't follow this anymore. We want to, but we can't. So we got to just play the games we like. And I think that moment, and then all these people coming together from this bulletin board scene, from different kinds of groups, we just kind of made this creative magazine, and it's been awesome. The initial run was about 6 years, and I think it kind of ranges the gamut from very like straight up, kind of 1E type gaming, Osric type gaming, and then Swords and Wizardry, out to some stuff that sometimes maybe more in the neighborhood of a Rules Light kind of thing. And then we spice it up a little bit too. There's some great older games, Tunnels and Trolls. Ken St. Andre helped us out with an issue. We even kind of had one honoring Greg Stafford and Glorantha. We have Empire Petal Throne. Victor Raymond, Brett Slocum, other guys are friends of mine. I actually, that was one of my first internet scenes, was the old Tecamel Yahoo group. I was like, what? People talk about gaming on the computer? That's cool. Because before that, I was just like playing with my buddies. It was like,
right.
So we just had this nice big eclectic group, and it's kind of kept going. And, eventually, some people, Tim Kask has been a good friend of the magazine. Frank Menser, Michael Mornard has an article in the current issue. Paul Stormberg did some stuff for us at one point. So, it's, we try to bring the real OGs in together with sort of like the younger internet OGs, which is, I guess, more what I am. But I have actually been playing Dungeons and Dragons since the 1970s. So I'm not a 50-year vet, but I'm closing in on it now. So I guess I'm getting to be in the old guard, but I'm certainly not an old TSR guy or whatever. I'm a fan whose fan magazine did pretty well. I mean, it's people like it.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I remember this was always one of those things I would like mentally stick a pin in and intend to come back around to. And now I've been gently poked and prodded to do so by Bob Gnarly. Of course, you know, I'm so glad to have you on the show. And
he's a really fun player.
Yeah, Bob, I have not actually gotten to play with him. Bob, if you're still out there watching, I better see you at the Guac, the great underground online gaming convention, and love to see you there too. If you can, if you
yeah,
can
I'll look for the dates. I just finished my last class today. I teach when I'm not doing the magazine, and so I just had my last final today, and I'll go see what's going on in the world of gaming in a day or two when I get everything graded.
Sure. I mean, you know, it's the holidays. You got to stop and take a breath, you know? Yeah. But, so you put Fight On out there, and now looking at the website, I'm going to go ahead and share this up here, and you can kind of tell us what we're, you know, we can talk about eras maybe. And for anybody out there said eras, not errors. So here we are. We have the first run, and then quarterly.
Hey, you know, we have a new website.
You have a new website? Okay, great. Drop the link to me in the back chat, and I will.
Okay, yeah, it's fightonzine.com, and this website does not have the new. Cyber Squatters actually. I don't have this anymore. Cyber Squatters took it from me.
So no!
I started a new one. I'll type it in for you.
I don't have the Delver's Dungeon either anymore. A Chinese MMO actually owns that now.
But yeah, it's just fightonzine.com is the new one.
All right. Fightonzine.com. Is it Zine? I always said zine.
Yeah, I think it is zine. I don't know why I said it that way.
That's okay.
But yeah, it is. Yeah, it's zine.
There we go. Okay.
There we go. Yeah.
All right. So starting out spring of 2008 and on through it looks like 2011. So what was the hiatus between 14 and 15?
Well, so the official story is that I was on a spaceship that flew too close to the singularity of a black hole, and so I got caught in a time warp, and so I wasn't able to do it for a while.
Happens to me all the time.
And the more accurate story is that I went through several major life upheavals, some good, some bad, and I just felt like I did not have the bandwidth to do it at that time. And in a way, I kind of think it was good because, well, it would have been better in a way if we were doing the magazine the whole time, because I love doing the magazine. But, you know, there was this big flame out in the old school community, like 2018, 2019, the end of the Google Plus era.
Yeah.
You know, and thank God I missed all of that, because I'm still like have friendly relationships with lots of people who kind of got into it with each other during that time period and so forth. And so when I was ready to come back, I talked to some of the old guys, say, hey, would you be interested in contributing again? I also had some young people, a lot of them from Europe. You see them in some of the new issues. Atronarch is one of those guys. Philip H. Now in the new issue, Prince of Nothing. A lot of these younger guys from Europe like love Fight On, and they wanted to contribute. So in addition to getting some of the old guys back, I was also able to draw on some new talent. These guys are writing really good old school dungeons. You know, you could find them in the last few issues. But so anyway, basically, you know, when I was ready to come back, people were ready for it. And there was not only, you know, some of the old group left, but there was a new group kind of ready to go. And people remember the magazine very fondly. So I was like, hey, let's do it again. And I think the 3 new issues are all great. This new one is really, it's the biggest and certainly one of the best we've produced. It's got very high quality in terms of the art. And I mean, you can see that cover.
Yeah, that is an absolutely gorgeous cover.
Peter Mullen, man. It's
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean the art quality I think throughout the issue is very high. In fact, I probably would say in terms of average art quality, it's probably the best we've ever produced. There's some brilliant pieces in earlier issues, and I don't want to say that each piece in this one is better because there's great ones in older issues too. But a lot of beautiful art in this issue. I also want to call out this back cover because if you're familiar with the Arduin Grimoires, this is a map by none other than Dave Hargrave, who wrote the Arduin Grimoires, and it's been sitting in a box since 1980. And the guys at Emperor's Choice shared it with me to publish and Fight On. So this is new Dave Hargrave material, a man who's been dead for 30 years plus now.
Yeah. Now we have actually had the Emperor's Choice guys were on.
Yeah, George and Dave. Yeah.
Yeah, we had them on just a couple of months ago, when they had their Kickstarter launch, and I'm happy to say that Matthew Tapp was there too. Matthew's a great guy. Do you know Matt?
Yeah.
Yeah. Matthew was on, and yeah, that is awesome that you're that you've been doing some work with him. That is some very cool stuff. Alan Canning right out of the chute's got a question. Alan, I'm gonna tag that, and we will definitely come back to that. So
I also noticed, Bill, we don't have to do it now, but a lot of people are asking like how to get design and so forth, zine. I don't know why I do that, but I did for you to share with your viewers. I sent along a coupon code so people could get it at half price if they watched your show.
That's right. I'm going to put that in the description, guys. Okay. Now, that is it just for my sake, for bookkeeping. Is that does that expire? Would you prefer I just put that up on the screen? You let me know.
You can just put it up on the screen. I did not set an expiration date for it. I'll probably take it down, around 2026 if it's not used up. There's 50 on there.
Okay.
But hey, see you later, Will. Have a great show, man. Will's another one of our contributors I see in the thread there.
Oh yeah, believe it or not, I have known Will on the internet for 22 years.
Wonderful.
23 years. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how that works. One of the Knights and Knaves guys who I've been talking to on the internet for more than 20 years, I just found out we knew each other in real life like a year ago. It's like
oh no way. Who is it?
It's a user named Falconer. I don't want to go into it too much, but it was just,
he's been on the show before. He and I are tight. We know each other in real life.
He's a wonderful guy, but I was just saying, like, we knew each other in a different context for years without realizing it was the same person.
Falconer is a great guy, and I love, as much as we grouse about social media, honestly, like I could not conceive of me having just I got to know Gary because I sent him an email. I literally found his email address, ggygax@Geneva Online. I sent him an email and said, "Wow, is this Gary Gygax?" And he emailed me back, "Yeah, it's me." And so, that went to me interviewing him for my website once upon a time, and then I ended up working for him with the Castles and Crusades stuff.
Yeah.
And really, the internet made that happen. I can't say that I would have that I would have been able to do that to the extent without the internet. So it's kind of fun and kind of weird.
It's a source of great good and great evil, the internet.
Yes.
It's both. But that's part of the good. Yeah, I mean, I treasure going back to Dragon's Foot again. You know, I had substantial conversations with Gary Gygax in the threads there about various things. And you know, I mean, at the time I was doing that, I was not a big traveler. I hadn't been to a lot of cons, and you know, that's now you know, my connection with the great man of early Dungeons and Dragons, right? So that wouldn't have happened without the internet. I probably never would have met him or talked to him at all.
Yeah, it's been it's been interesting, and you know, to kind of go back to the matter of putting the zine together and so on.
Yeah,
if you go back and look, and I'm sure you have probably access to plenty of PDFs of Dragon Magazine, right?
I have the CD-ROM still. Yeah,
same. Or even if you just have physical copies, and you go back and you look at letters, or you know, tiny little want ads in the back of Dragon Magazine. Hey, I'm looking for a group. I'm in Pensacola. I'm in Kansas City. I'm in Seattle, you know, whatever. And, you know, you think about the amount of effort involved in writing a letter, hoping somebody would respond to it. Well, I could only afford the ad for 1 month, you know, and now we have the ease of literally being able to sit down with free software.
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
And
when I was a lonely kid,
thousands.
I used to pay $3 a move for that Silver Dawn play by email RPG. You know, and it's just so slow, you know, even if it's a cool world and a cool setting, it's really hard. And now, you know, we can do the virtual tabletop. We could get in groups with people. I mean, for me, a real table, everybody face to face is always best, but it's awesome that the computer is actually now a functional alternative, which, you know, for even in the days of play by mail, actually play by message board was a lot faster than waiting for the stamp.
Yeah. No, it really was. And there's that link, by the way, guys, if y'all want to grab that is for the half off the latest issue.
Yeah. Special for Dungeon Delver fans.
That's right. It's that Delver effect. You guys just, you know, just by being in my presence, you get awesome stuff. But no, you know, I am not a guy who has ever shied away from the electronic game. Of course, I would love to have every person that I game with in my house at this table.
Yeah.
That's simply not realistic. And I mean, you know, you've been gaming longer than I have. I am a late first generation D&Der, right? You know, I started in 81. And
that's in time, but yeah, you're right. It's yeah.
But if you meet someone, it's not, you know, it's 1981. You get to go to a Gen Con, you get to go to a local con, you meet somebody, you have a hell of a fun game. Maybe you send a letter.
Yeah,
you
right.
know, maybe your parents let you spend $6 on an 8-minute phone call to them, something like that.
Yeah.
Now you go to a con, you play a game, you're like, damn guys, they're locking up the room. It's 12 o'clock. All my sessions tomorrow are full. Why don't we just pick this up on Roll20? You know, and you get a handful of email addresses and you keep playing. And people who are, I'll never play online. That's not real D&D. You might as well play a video game. Grow up, grandpa. You know, the future is now, old man. And I always point them at this. And I think, and you know him better than I do. You can correct me on this, but there's this great story. And I think it was Tim Kask. Called Gary on the phone from Minneapolis. It wasn't cheap to call any long distance back then.
No.
He calls him on the phone, starts talking to Gary, talks to him for hours on end, wanting a clarification about a D&D rule. Gary ends up running a game on the phone.
Wow. That's great.
And Tim, if it is Tim, don't run. If it's not, and you go tell Tim, and he pops a blood blister over it. I apologize, but you know, he ends up getting a job with TSR. Like it evolved from, hey, can you clarify this rule for me? Well, why don't we just play D&D on the phone? Well, why don't you just come out to Lake Geneva and you can work for the company? Anybody who says, well, D&D online, that's not real D&D, I point to that story.
Yeah.
That's D&D over telecommunications, baby.
Yeah.
And it went on in 1974.
Yeah, and I mean, I get that different people are more comfortable with different formats, right? But I mean, it can work. You know, it can work for some people, and it can keep a game group alive sometimes when there's not another way to do it, and it's good. You know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my Monday night group, it's been as few as 2 people at the table, but currently it's 11 people. My Monday night AD&D group has been going on for 11 years now. It'll be 12 this coming summer. So, and I wouldn't have that great group to game without online play. So I think you and I are of a like mind in that respect. So to pivot back over to the zine for just a minute. So do you find when you're compiling articles, when you're taking submissions outside of adventures, because I never say of an adventure, oh, well, this has been done before. Everybody's got a unique perspective on running something, or else D&D would have stopped after about 2 years.
That's right.
But when it comes to content, do you ever get that a sense of, God, you know, there were 250 issues of Dragon. This has really kind of been hashed out already, with articles you write or other people submit, or is it that same sort of, no, this is a unique perspective here?
I almost always find it's a unique perspective. I don't get a lot of things that are totally, you know, just derivative. I think, like you say, one of the things I love about this hobby is the kind of open-ended creativity it offers, and you'll, you know, find that with a lot of stuff. And so, you know, there are some cases where I'll get something and I think I kind of maybe have seen things like this before, but there's always still something kind of like new or interesting, or this is the way that somebody's thinking it through, and it's probably going to be interesting to somebody else who's thinking it through right now. I'm a big lover of process in a way, and this is one thing I think that I like about what I think of as the older ways, right? Like to be a game master, you can just run a module with the rules and be a great game master, and that's how a lot of us start, you know. But people like to build their own worlds, and a lot of times they're like, you know, I love these rules, but there's a couple things, you know, maybe for one person they like a mana point system, maybe for another person they like to stick really close to core classes and not get into so many, and everybody just kind of makes it the way they want. And you know, probably there are some more popular ways to do it. I mean, you know, by the book first edition is a very popular way to do it. But there's also this kind of flexibility where if you're running a particular kind of campaign, or you've got particular kind of rules going on or whatever, you know, you can do that. And so when you see people thinking through things, a lot of times it's new. I think a lot of the stuff we publish is very fresh, very interesting, very unique. But even stuff that is maybe a little bit more familiar to what you've seen before, I still think what I look for is like, is the person kind of like making fantasy role playing their own? And if they are, then I think this is good. I want this, you know, in the zine.
Right on. And you know, I feel like like I'm with you. You know, I'm of a like mind. I think there are, I mean, there are probably a lot of arguments you can that we can set aside.
Endless, endless arguments. Yeah.
Endless. There are endless arguments, but I think there's a lot of them that we can set aside. You know, I like to point people to this, and I wish I still had that. I had the link like saved in a document for the longest time. The first mention of Dungeons and Dragons on it would have been ARPANET was in 1985. Was someone bitching about Unearthed Arcana. So don't bring me your Unearthed Arcana arguments like you're coming at it from a new angle, because I promise you you're not. but no, I think by and large, though, all kidding aside, I think, you know, fresh perspectives, and even if they're older perspectives from newer gamers. I mean, we were talking about Matthew Tapp earlier. I have shoes older than Matthew Tapp, okay? And I say that with great affection. But you know, here's a guy, he's a young man. He's and yet he's dived into the roots. I don't mean like, yeah, I've played D&D at some cons. It's pretty good. I met I've met you know, so-and-so person that works at TSR to con. I mean, he's rolled up his sleeves and said, well, let's get this running again, you know? And it's amazing when you see a younger crowd come at those things like that.
Absolutely.
And you know, I met a young man in 2023 at GaryCon. We know him as the Vile Necromancer around here. I won't dox him, but he's got a little YouTube channel he's doing. I think he was 17 or 18. And he recognized me. He comes like running across a concourse. Oh my God, the dungeon delver! I was like, what? You know, but no, he's a great guy, and he's a young man in his teens then, early 20s now, who has embraced AD&D. So I feel like you're definitely in the right in that for the most part. Again, no arguments about Unearthed Arcana, please. We've done that. 40 years, guys. 40 years since D&D was first mentioned.
Although, since you bring it up.
No,
it's okay.
Drow should not be playable there. I said it.
Weapon specialization. Let's fight about weapon specialization.
Oh, God. But yeah, no, you know, I think there's almost this myth that we're, you know, that we're just a bunch of graybeards with our crumbling copies of the Dungeon Master's Guide, muttering about Thaco, and yeah, we can run kind of an interesting game where everybody's character died when they touched a doorknob wrong.
Yeah,
but it really is a good, solid, vital game. And yes, there is a whole new generation out there, and I think stuff like Fight On is really gonna kind of, you know, break through that, because it requires, you know, I hate to say this. Okay, so you're a teacher. I'm going to ask you this question. I'm babbling, but I want to put the ball back in your court. Some of your students at the university know about me. Am I burned in effigy there or something, Jorge? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? But no, as a teacher, you surely have noticed attention spans going down.
In the last few years, I think a little bit. It's weird. Things are changing. I think attention spans are going down. I do see that certain kinds of facts, I actually think my students are slightly more knowledgeable about maybe than they used to be. Maybe that's the upside of the internet. They look a lot of things up. But yeah, I mean, it's harder to get, you know, long readings read or you know, these kinds of things. So yeah.
Well, that comes back, I mean, to something like Fight On, where I think, and maybe this is just my boundless optimism that I'm so well known for, but I think something like Fight On stands to be like a point of pride almost with gamers. It's like, you know, you can't play 5.5 if the Wi-Fi suddenly cuts out because your character sheet's on a server and your DM's adventure is on a server. Meanwhile, I can sit here and go through this mag and, you know, and have a myriad of endless ideas. So I think stuff in the face of that, in the face of, and I know this term's a little overused, but I think it's, you know, if the shoe fits, brain rot, stuff like Fight On is going to become more and more important. And I'm so glad that you're out there doing that.
Well, thank you. That's a very kind thing to say. And I hope you're right. I mean, I sometimes read all the reviews that, you know, Bryce puts up at 10-foot pole. And boy, I don't want to judge. I haven't read all these modules, but boy, he seems to read a lot of stuff that, you know, I feel bad for the people who write it.
You know what? I'm just going to address Mr. Pole. I don't want to be informal and call him 10-foot, Mr. Pole. Having written some of that stuff that he hates.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't want to open a can of worms.
No, that's entirely okay. So, Mr. Pole, I will say this: he is certainly entitled to his opinions.
Absolutely.
He is certainly, absolutely, positively welcome to hold all of his published material up against mine, and I am sure it will be out any day now. Any day he'll be able to say, well, here's what I wrote for Gary Gygax, or here's what I put out on the internet for people who enjoy my stuff for free and get so much positive feedback. And on that day, I am sure I will be blown away. But let's back to Fight On, not to focus on me.
Sure.
So I realize this may come dangerously close to asking what is your favorite Led Zeppelin album, and the correct answer, of course, is Physical Graffiti. But realistically, it's all of them. But do you have a favorite issue of Fight On? Is there one that really, like, if somebody said you can hawk Fight On, but you got to take your favorite issue and your favorite issue only to wherever, what one are you picking up?
I mean, in one sense, it's always the one I'm working on now. I think the current issue is really wonderful, and I encourage people to check it out. In terms of things that felt like milestones, issue number 2, which I think still holds up as a great issue. I was like 88 pages, color cover, like, okay, now this is something, you know. And then issue 8, when Errol Otis donated a cover, I was like, this is amazing. You know, the great Errol Otis has given me a cover now. It's like,
yeah,
that's like arriving at Nerd Valhalla or something like
that.
You know?
Dude, I got Errol is a guest on my show this spring after Gary Con 23. You can ask the audience. Like, I had to pan the camera up because I was walking like 6 inches off the ground.
Yeah, I know.
He is just an awesome guy.
So I mean, those were some big highlights. You know, in terms of dungeon quality, I think the current issue is fantastic. Issue 6 has a couple of real bangers in it. You know, all those early issues 3 and 4. I mean, there's a lot of good adventures you find. And then there's other stuff like, you know, I mean, she just ended Alarums and Excursions after 50 years.
Yeah.
Issue 6 was also dedicated to Lee Gold. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard, man. I mean, right now I'm really, really high on the current issue, number 17, because I just got it done, and I think there's so much good stuff in it. But there's a lot of good ones. It's a hard question for me to, but anyway, those are a few of the highlights for me. You know,
Sure. And I both love and hate putting guests in the which of your children do you love the most?
Yeah, I know. It's
but no, I just do you see it as a series of peaks or a series of plateaus in terms of overall quality? And by quality, let me frame that as what you think of as the best. Do you see series like I'm getting to the next, or I've reached this point and this is where we want to be?
Yeah, so I think that right now, in terms of certain kinds of layout and organization and visual quality, it's actually reaching a peak right now. I'm learning. I've had to learn some new things about layout that I didn't know before. There's a couple hiccups there. I had to do a few proof copies of this issue to get it all together. But again, I think that issue 1 is a lower fi kind of publication. It was like, let's do this and see what happens. It's only 30 pages. I'm actually the standalone issue 1s are going to be collector's items soon, because I'm going to combine the old issue 1 and 2 into one package to make it basically not a ripoff, because I'm trying, I want it because the products become kind of uniform, between well, now this one's a monster, so I don't know what that means, 166 pages, but anyway, yeah, okay. But I think the new issues are reaching toward maybe a better level of layout and visual quality. But I think it's all, in some ways, we've kind of had the same recipe from issue 2 on, and so in that sense, I think it's all been pretty good.
So it's just it's a process of refinement then.
I'd say at this point it's mostly a process of refinement. Yeah, because I mean, I know I have a pretty good sense of what I think a good issue of Fight On looks like. I have a few other guys I talk to, to kind of bounce things off of and stuff like that. And I mean, that's not a secret club or anything. I'm on the internet, so I mean, anybody who starts talking to me about Fight On, I listen to, because that's one thing. For a long time, I was kind of more anonymous, and I'm trying to get out a little bit more because I want to promote the zine more, and also kind of see like what people are looking for now. But one reason I've been kind of reticent about putting myself forward is I don't really see the magazine as about me in a certain way. It's about old school gaming, and I actually want people who are different from me to contribute. Like, I have certain ways of doing things that I think are cool. They're my ways of doing things, but other people write adventures differently. They have different ideas about how to run things, and I want Fight On to reflect this kind of creative ferment that, to me, is what makes old school gaming so awesome, and so hopefully my mannerisms won't drive people away. If you don't like what I'm doing, there's other people in the magazine. Hopefully you do like what they're doing, because I'm trying to make it, a real place for like old school creativity to keep going and keep blossoming. Yeah.
See, I've got to say, this is like a personal problem of mine. I have to overcome, and maybe you can lend me some insight there. And that is, I have a lot of people coming to me and say, "Hey, Bill, let me do X on the show for you, or I can contribute Y, or why don't you get somebody to do Z? And I'm like, I break out in hives when I hear that, man. It's not because I don't think people are good enough to do things. I just kind of get
Mhm.
this sort of twitchy sense of, no, I have to do that myself. This is mine. Just let me, it's like,
Yeah.
well, but I could just adjust that. It could be better. And it's like you just clutch it to you and hiss
Yeah.
at people when they do that. Is that something you felt initially, or is that not something you had to deal with? Or if it is, how did you how did you how did you let that go? I'm
Yeah,
asking you
I think
personally. How?
one of, as far as content goes, I'd probably say no. I think one of my strengths is that I'm able to recognize a lot of different kinds of quality and celebrate a lot of different kinds of contribution. I think sometimes in terms of like layout and how I've done certain things in terms of preparing the magazine, I have been a little bit stubborn. I've gotten some great suggestions from younger people who know more about layout software, and I've tried to take some of those to heart. But then I'm also like, kind of like you with the studio. It's like, hey, this is how I do things. It's like that's just what it is. And
Yeah.
so sometimes in terms of process, I think I can be like, well, it's not that there's not another good way to do this, but this is the way I do it, and that's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do think in terms of content, I've been really good at just like taking contributors where they're at and trying to work with their thing.
Yeah, yeah, and you mentioned layout and doing things a specific way. When I first put together the the adventure modules that I gave away starting with the
Mhm.
2000s, I copied the TSR trade dress. I did that. Let's make these look exactly like AD&D modules, and I did it with Word. Microsoft
Yeah.
Word, which will catch fire, like your PC flames will come out of it if
Mhm.
you move an illustration over in a Word document, and it'll happen twice as fast if you have two columns like you do in the layout for it in an
Yeah.
AD&D book. Um, and I remember my wife came home once, and I very proudly showed her a page. I had I had copied a page out of an AD&D module and
Mhm.
then formatted it as the TSR style layout. So, I hand typed the text and then formatted it. And I said, "Hey, hon, which one of these is the original?" And I printed out the PDF, and she's like, "Well, they're identical." And I explained what I did. And she's like, "Oh, wow, what tool did you use?" And my wife, who works with years in pre-press,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah.
does all kinds of admin work. I said, "Well, I did it mostly with Microsoft Word and MS Paint." And I think she aged. I think she
Yeah.
got a little streak of gray hair. She's like, there are incredibly easier ways to do this.
Yeah, I do a lot of stuff in Word too, and it goes all the way back. I actually did another short-lived, much less widespread, obviously, gaming magazine back in high school, which was called the Roulier Text. Um, and I ran that off on my dad's dot matrix printer, and
Yeah.
sold it to my high school gaming club, and we sold it at DundraCon one time.
So, fellow old school gamers, if you're out there, you might actually have the precursor to fight on,
That's
sitting in a folder somewhere.
yeah,
You know,
it's true. I have somewhere around here. I have issue 14. I put this is kind of a nice little story. Um, the back cover of issue 14 is actually the cover for issue number 4 of the Roulier Text that I had in my little drawer. All
oh
those,
wow! So we're getting
yeah,
so. I'm gonna
yeah.
I'm
This
gonna
this
when
this
you bring
one
this
here.
up, I'm gonna make you. Let's see here.
So
Let's make you.
this wonderful illustration by Pat Farley, he's actually a movie concept artist, but he was also a great DM in high school. And anyway, he did this for the magazine back in high school. It's like an old cut paper thing. I scanned it in, and then with issue 14, that was right before the hiatus, and I didn't know, when I was going to do another issue and so forth. And so I was like, this is it, guys. Kind of like a shout out back to my high school crew. Like, we got another issue of the old magazine out. So this is technically Fight On number 14 and Relay Text number 4. It's both. I didn't.
Well, you gotta mine that stuff for us, man. You gotta bring that back. And I just want to point out there, Gonzalo Liras,
hey, thank you.
17. Yeah, that's see, I love that. That's awesome, man. That's digging way down to get that old school stuff, man. That
magazine did get a short, like 3 or 4 sentence mini review in one of the old issues of Different Worlds. So
man, the surprises just keep coming. That's fantastic. And I want to answer this question real quick. Gonzalo says, who is David C. Sutherland? Dave Sutherland did the cover art for the Monster Manual, the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Freak cover, which issue 17, kind of an homage to Sutherland's.
I believe it is. I mean,
battle.
It's Peter's art, and I don't want to speak for him, but it's hard not to see a little bit of a resonance there between this image and the OG, first edition Dungeon Master's Guide cover. Yep, there it is.
That's David Sutherland. And you know him, Ignatius, but you and I both know who actually owns a soil painting. So
yeah, that's true.
It sits on his wall mocking me every time I have him on the show. I love him like a brother, and I see that painting and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, the collectors. Speaking of old days, I was thinking I don't have a lot of my books from the old days, but I did find one. This is my original copy of Gods, Demigods, and Heroes.
Oh.
From 19, you see the cover has been played off it. It's got separated stuff here. And the really fun thing about this old book is I can see where me and my friends, certain gods, there's an X through them, and we wrote dead.
So you did exactly what Tim said don't do, and that's treat it like a monster manual.
Yeah, that's kind of, I mean, not completely, but yeah, that's kind of what we did, I mean, particularly like my initial group when I first started playing, which actually was in 4th grade, really. I mean, we played at recess before that because Dungeons and Dragons was a thing, but we didn't have any rule books, right? It was just sort of like playing Japanese movie monsters or something. You just ran around and pretended to be this or that, which is actually pretty fun, honestly. But we started playing with rules. I was in about 4th grade maybe then. And that group was fairly by the book. And then I went to the little club with the older kids at the library, and they had Arduin, and they had like 17th level magic users, and that Halls of Be All Doer adventure from Dragon Magazine. I remember them running, and it was just like, whoa, and so then I got exposed to power creep fairly early on.
I see that.
and so this monster manual, Gods, Demigods, and Heroes here is a relic of that period where we're just making the most ridiculous maxed out characters we could get and seeing what
you fought them so hard it caused the book they were in to fall apart. That's pretty awesome. So with your teaching gig, I asked, do you ever get any students to play with, and any student gaming?
Well, it's funny you should mention that. I have gamed with a couple students, but I've kind of mostly kept the two parts of my life separate until the last few years. And sort of part of getting back in gaming and getting back into Fight On, I've been teaching some classes on philosophy, fantasy, and science fiction. I'm going to teach a class on the Lord of the Rings. and I'm actually going to be running a D&D game at my university for a bunch of graduate students next term, and I'm very excited about that. I'm also curious to see how it'll go because a lot of them are more modern and they're excited to see what I do, but they're not necessarily used to old school. So it's going to be an interesting experiment to kind of see, do they take to it? Do some of them take to it and some of it not? But they're good people, so I'm sure it's going to be a fun experience no matter how it rolls out.
Yeah, that's excellent. I have found, and you, is it the case with you that the best games, even if they're just event games, come from people, like you get the best play not from the veterans but from the people who haven't played before? Maybe they know of TTRPGs, that they grok the concept, but they haven't played before. Is that your experience?
For certain kinds of things, yeah. I mean, I can't tell at cons. I've often run games where dads show up with their sons or daughters, and the kids just rock it in terms of like figuring out puzzles and tactics and stuff like that. And I mean, in theory, the dads have been doing this for 30 years or whatever. They should be better at it, but the kids just, they're lazy. They're they're thinking.
Right.
I think that kind of goes to what you're saying. Sometimes, I mean, there are definitely things that I feel like, when I play, there are some tricks of the trade. You don't put your magic user out where people can hit him, things like this, but so there are things you learn as a vet that are helpful, but I mean, in terms of like, creative strategizing, I agree with you. Often newcomers and young people are better, unless the old schoolers are really on their game,
Yeah. I think we kind of, we as old school gamers, and I'm a little guilty of this. I've seen people more guilty of it, and you can come to confession now if you wish to. We tend to take almost I'm Kirk and I programmed the Kobayashi Maru last night approach to gaming. So everybody else is it's pucker factor, and we're sitting back and we're like, let's see, I'm gonna cast 2 spells of unseen servant, so they can lift 50 pounds each. That means a 50-pound pull on a bow. I'm gonna have one of them move close to the bad guys with the portable hole, and I'm gonna have the other one fire a bag of holding tied to an end of an arrow with a bow at the other unseen servant. We're sitting back here coming up with the most ridiculous blasé solutions to problems, and you get people who aren't maybe as much of mechanics as we are coming up with the truly inspirational stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, because I mean, again, there are tricks you learn as a D&D vet that make you better, but in terms of like creative thinking outside the box, keeping that fresh, it is, newcomers, young people, and I think you can do it as a vet, but you've got to really keep that freshness going, or you lose it.
This brings up something here, and guys, if you have questions for Ignatius, please ask them. I'm tagging them, but this is a good one to get to right now. This is from Alan Canning. He says, will the game style of new editions make your grad students raise issues, i.e. player agency versus DM fiat? Good question, man. Good question.
It's a great question, and my honest answer is I don't know. I mean, I like the people, and they seem like good people, so I'm hoping it's going to be great. I wonder a little bit, is it going to be too deadly? I mean, we'll see. Is it, but, are they going to want a more kind of like role play? I mean, it's a role playing game. You do a lot of role playing, and I actually tend to have very fleshed out worlds I've been running for a long time, but I'm kind of a maximalist. I like the deep setting, I like the role playing, but I also like a lot of monsters and a lot of treasure and all, so I'm hoping it's going to be great. I'm hoping that, they're going to say, wow, this is like what we've been doing, but it's like more tactically challenging and more interesting, right? I mean, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm looking forward to the experiment, and I'm pretty sure we'll all have a good time. Whether they decide to get their OSR old school or whatever hats on, or whether they decide to stick with what they're doing. But yeah, I'm excited to find out. I do talk to some people. I have a student who plays. He's not going to be in the game next term because he's got a class at the same time, unfortunately. But he's very excited because he feels like he plays the newer editions and they're fun, but he wants sometimes to feel more challenged in certain ways.
Sure.
And so I think, he sounds like somebody who's looking for more of what I think we have to offer. But I also know there's certain images, like for some reason people are terrified of THAC0, which, I mean, to me, that's already an innovation. I'm a Matrix guy.
See, yeah, I'm not terrified of it. I don't like it. I have a chart. I have a table right here I can consult on the back of this screen.
Yeah.
So
I saw Dwayne. He's an awesome artist. He's had stuff in the last couple issues, really good.
Yeah, there are some questions about physical copies.
So I could give you a link to it's on a website called Lulu. If you go to the Fight On Zine, zine, Fight On Zine. If you go to fightonzine.com, there are links to all the different sale issues. I do have good news. The print issue on Drive-Thru has been approved, and I've ordered a proof copy. So there will also be a print one on Drive-Thru probably within a week. But right now you can only get the print on Lulu, who normally actually I think has better print quality, although I dealt with errors in a recent order. They've usually been good about fixing those, though. But in any case, it's on Lulu now, and there's a link to it. Yeah, thanks. You showed it there.
Yeah, I saw it, grabbed it, and went for it.
You can still get a copy of issue 1. In fact, all the issues in PDF are on both Lulu and Drive-Thru, and you could get them all. I will say, if you're hearing about Fight On for the first time and you're excited and you want to go get it all, there's the first 14 issues from the original run are available in a pretty nicely discounted bundle on Drive-Thru, so you could get PDFs 1 to 14 there. I think it's $60 or something. It's a 50, I don't know, something. It's a markdown anyway. I know it's a markdown. And you can also get them individually at both sites. So the PDFs are very broadly available. Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I just popped the DTRPG link there.
So you guys lots of love in the comments, and I really appreciate it. I'm really glad you guys are enjoying it.
It's an awesome jam. And I'm going to be honest with you. I really want issue 1 print, so I'm probably going to jump on that. Maybe put that in the stocking, and maybe if I bump into you at Page this winter, you can autograph that for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll be at Page, and like you said, it was fun seeing you. We see each other at cons every so often. It is funny though. I haven't been in the con scene as long. I've really only been doing that. I did it a lot in high school, and then I've been doing it more recently. But I keep running into people at cons, and it's like, oh my God, I've known you online for 20 years, 30 years, 15. It's like it's crazy. I remember I ran into Matt Finch at North Texas, and I was like, hey, I'm Calafina. And he was like, oh my God.
Matt's good people. I like Matt a lot. We've had Matt on the show a bunch, and no, he's great. But one thing I will This is interesting. A lot of people, I think, have the misunderstanding of me that like I was born with a wood grain set in my hands. Very messy birth. I should guess if that had been the case, but no. I mean, I started playing in '81, and then there was a stretch of probably 6 or 7 years when I didn't play D&D at all through high school. But the where's the I never did the convention scene. I would see in friends copies of Dragon, and I would hear about Gen Con and DundraCon and Origins and things like that. I never went. I started the first gaming con that I went to was a local, and it was actually a historical miniatures convention down here in Central Florida, which interestingly enough, Dave Arneson attended them when he lived down here at that time. And it was the HMGS South conventions. I went to a bunch of those, and then a couple of years later, we went to the LGGC, the Lake Geneva Gaming Conventions, and we went to 3 of those, and then Gary passed away, and we went to the final one that they did. And then I guess the next time was GaryCon in 2018, and then 2023, and I've been to EggCon of course this past summer, and I think I'm going to make it this next summer as well.
So EggCon's been a good time. The first one was really wonderful. It was just like 100, 200 people in that Union Hall. The last year was great too. I mean, I think Eric and Heidi are going to keep building that one up nicely. And, I mean, GaryCon's awesome, but it's become very big. And if you like a more intimate experience, which I often do, big cons can be awesome too. But, if you want to go to Lake Geneva on a sort of smaller ticket, EggCon seems to be the way to do it now.
I cannot recommend strongly enough that if you want to go to a gaming con, first of all, you won't be dealing with 1.5 feet of snow. Lake Geneva in the summer is gorgeous. It is a beautiful little resort town. I do recommend. We were at we had a good time. This is not a complaint, but for us, our conventions having been 5 or 6 HMGS South cons, 4 LGGCs, GaryCon was a crush in 2023. That was like, just by middle of day 2, and we were up there, we got there on the Wednesday, but by the middle of the second proper day at the con, Mrs. the Dungeon Delver was like, I am peopled out. I am, have fun. I am parking myself here on the concourse. Bring me some lunch later, and I don't blame her. It's a big bustling scene. But I will say this, it is, comparatively speaking, I mean, no offense meant if that's anyone's jam, at this point, how can you call Gen Con anything but other than utterly impersonal, right?
It's so huge. I mean,
70,000 people, man.
I mean, it's awesome in a way, but I mean, it's a whole different thing than kind of what I think of when I think of a game con.
It's like 1/3 of the population of Tampa, Florida shows up in Indianapolis for 5 days and then leaves. And I don't know how you can have a great con experience. EggCon, to me, EggCon is fantastic because it's like you can talk to people. You can, or hey, you said it right. It's no con, it's a town. So I hope everything comes to fruition, and then I'm able to go to EggCon again this summer. But Paige, have you been to Paige before? Have you done Paige before?
No, Ron invited me last year, and I was just like, I just can't make the time for it. I mean, I don't know everybody in gaming, but of the people I know, Ron is like the hardest working person in gaming. He's relentless, and he got me again early for 3, and I'm like, all right, I'm coming, man, I'm coming.
Yeah, he straight up cornered me at
He's
AgCon and was like,
he's a force, man. Ron is
what do I need to do to get you to Page? And I was like, get me a pair of hiking boots and a backpack full of trail rations, and if I start walking now, I should make it there by January. But he was like, no, I need you to come and do that. I felt like I got hired. You know, it was like, so it was it was just great. And you're right, Ron Michelin Man, as I call him. That's,
I mean, he's a force. For sure.
But so we'll I'm sure we'll bump at each other at Page. I don't know how big it is. I think it was saying it was in the hundreds he was expecting for Page.
Well, I think he's up to 1,700 pre-reg now. And I mean, I imagine, given that, I imagine it'll probably be at least 3,000, but we'll see, you know.
And I feel like that's upper end for me. I mean, if your con grows, that's awesome. I'm not saying like your con's too big, I'm not going to attend it. That's not where I'm at. I'm just saying that like that is a big meaty con to me, you know, that's like, okay, that's a lot of fun. And I hope it stays that vibe. But again, when you start talking about 70,000 people, I mean, that's more than fits in a lot of NFL stadiums.
I know, right? Yeah, I mean,
imagine you click on you click on the TV one Sunday, and you know, we're here at lovely whatever field and wherever, and everybody in the crowd just starts playing D&D.
Yeah, there's significantly less people when I go downtown for a Pistons game.
There you go.
It's a big thing, that Gen Con.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is a question. Do you mind fielding a few questions? Because we got a few
let's do it.
Stacked. Let me. Well, I'll just start with this one because it's right on the screen. And Bob, I apologize. I don't know if this is a question or a declaration. Is going to Europe.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Bob could be referring to two things. One is there's a con that I've been wanting to go to since it started called Cauldron that meets in Germany. It's a small, I think of it, I haven't been, but I think of it as sort of Europe's answer to North Texas RPG Con. You know, they only take, I don't even know how many, couple hundred, 300. They've got a communal like dorm. I think it's nicer than that, right? But it's basically like, and it's pretty strict. They're like an AD&D con. Like, I think you can play chainmail there. But
I approve of this. I should get over to Europe for this.
And you've got to grab it. I mean, they released the tickets in tranches, so I think it's probably still possible to go to Cauldron, but it was like 15 minutes after they opened, the initial tranche sold out. It's very successful for what they're doing. And I guess you fly into the Frankfurt airport and it's about an hour from there. I haven't been, like I said, I'm going for the first time. So I'm looking forward to that. There's a few other US people I know who are going to be there too, but it's going to be, a lot of Europeans. It's a European con. So that's one thing Bob might have been talking about. The other thing he might have been talking about, I told him he played in a game of mine at UConn here in, Southeast Michigan. And I wanted to go to GaryCon this year to help Paul with the chainmail because I had so much fun playing with you and him when we were out at EggCon.
Yeah,
good times. My wife got a Europe trip for her birthday present, and I'm not going to let her go. So I'm gonna be not a non-gaming, just family trip and when GaryCon's going on this year. So I won't be at GaryCon this year, but so those, Bob was talking about one of those two things.
Okay, I gotcha. magazine question here. Magazine question from Alan Canning. I'm going to warn you, Alan is going to ask you the questions. He is the chief. He's the chief inquisitor of the Delver's Dungeon.
I love it.
So Alan asked, does the magazine teach players how to think rather than rely on the DM for help?
I think that things are generally written for that kind of play. I think that in a way, I think a gaming magazine, a lot of it winds up being pitched at DMs. You know, I mean, there are things for players in here. There's, you know, new classes, new races. There's lots of stuff. But a lot of times when you're thinking about monsters, magic items, adventures, you're thinking about what game masters need, right? And so, but I mean, generally speaking, I try not to publish railroads. I try not to publish, you know, bubble wrap. I mean, you know, the adventures in the magazine are generally ones that you can die in if you don't play well. You got to be thoughtful. You know, we had way back in issue 1, actually, I wrote a little article describing sandbox play. You know, and again, other people have probably done it better and in more detail sense, but you know, we've been kind of pushing, yeah, I mean, players, you know, you have to think, you have to solve problems with your imagination. Again, I hesitate to overgeneralize, right? There's all these things, you know, people say like rulings, not rules, and you know, imagination comes before gaming and the system, and I mean, I think that people say those things as a counter to people who kind of maybe don't fully get the spirit of old school play. I mean, that's the rules do matter. I mean, you know,
yeah,
there's a system that you're using to game out the fantasy, and that's important. So I think people can overstate those platitudes, but I think there's a real point to them, and Fight On is definitely pitched at the kind of play that is driven by imagination and driven by players being resourceful rather than maybe having the DM hold their hand. Although, again, even there is a judgment call, right? One DM's hand-holding, you know, could be a lot more strenuous than another's.
Yeah. You know, and you hit on something that's kind of a bully pulpit of mine, and it is the rulings, not rules. That the notion, the rulings, not rules, is not throw out a rule if I just in the moment don't like it, capriciousness. It is, there is no rule for this. I'm going to make a spot judgment. The rulings, not rules, does not mean that the rules are mutable from moment to moment.
That's
quite
right.
Quite the opposite. Quite the opposite.
That's right.
The rulings is like, I love secondary skills in AD&D. How about you?
I like them. I've used them a lot. You know, I've handled that in different ways. I don't like to use a full-grown skill system. I know some people who do. There were some great charts. I think that if I'm remembering right, it's one of the Knights and Knaves guys, maybe Philotomy, maybe someone else, did some nice sort of 2d6 charts for like broad areas. That's like more of an OD&D kind of like. So I've used a lot of different things. I've used special abilities. I've used secondary skills. So yeah, I mean, I like to have some things to flesh it out, but I also I like to leave a little space open to where, you know, if it's come up in play that maybe a guy's fighter used to be a pirate or something like that, and he's trying to do something with a boat, I might just let him do it, or I might have him make a roll that I wouldn't let another player make. So there's a little bit of that free form sometimes for that part of the game, but I think secondary skills are a great way to kind of like open up, like, who's your character, a little more info without overwhelming it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, and that actually is the answer to the follow-up that I have. And that is, you know, how to use secondary skills.
Mhm.
And I mean, there's no hard and fast rule
Yeah.
on how to do that. That's where rulings kick in.
Yeah.
But if the question is, well, why do I have to wear a helmet? Oh, I don't know. I'll roll a d4, I guess, and see that they're necessary. No, there's a very specific rule
Yeah,
about
right.
why you have to wear a helmet, because your
Yeah.
big uncovered melon is going to get swung at by a half intelligent monster.
Yeah.
So that's the ruling, not rules. But I think we're very much on the same page.
Mhm.
This is a question I can kind of answer this, but I want to hear your take on it. And that is, the DMs back in the day really manage huge campaigns with 100+ players. Arduin.
I would say yes, with some qualifications. In terms of players at a table at a time, I know of some games that got up to the low 20s. I have only played in games that have gotten up to the teens. I have played in a couple games. Um, Bill Webb is a good large group DM. A guy named Ryan Thompson writes for Old School Essentials. He's actually a pretty good large group GM too.
Mhm.
It's a whole almost separate skill set to do that well. But as far as Alan's question, if you mean like big campaigns where you've got multiple groups and like a whole kind of like ecology of play where you've got maybe like a half dozen different groups you're running for, that absolutely did happen. And again, in the West Coast, you talk about Dave Hargrave, you talk about Greg Stafford. I think Greyhawk was like that for a while with Gary. I think eventually he got kind of busy with business and the cartoon and all that. But yeah, I mean, really motivated DMs in the early days, you play sometimes several times a week. You've got a few different groups you play with. Players come in and out. I know a few guys, Atronarch, one of those younger European guys I mentioned, he's got an online group like that. He runs Wilderlands, and he's got, I don't think he's up to 100, but he's got, a lot of players that kind of come in and out in a couple different groups that he runs. One of my students I mentioned, who's playing in my game next term, he didn't go all the way to like 50 or whatever, but he had an online group and an in-person group, and they were set in the same world. And at a certain point for like the climactic adventure, he kind of brought them together somehow. So this can be done. It can be even, just a couple different groups, or you can get all the way out like some of those old guys did, 50, 100. I've myself lately, I would say I've been running more for one group at a time or at cons, but there was definitely a period where I had 3 different groups, I think, and they were in the same world. And there's actually another DM running in the same world, and so that group interact. So I mean, it happens. Yeah, it does happen that you get big kind of groups all together, and it's cool. It's really cool.
I tell people my Monday night game has had as many as 15, and like people's eyes bug out of their heads.
Yeah.
I did 24 at a con locally.
Yeah.
And I like to
do that in North Texas this year. I'm already prepping it because I'm kind of nervous.
Never again. I should get a custom vinyl sticker for the back of the car. You see those at like 13.1 for the people that do the marathons. I should get 24 AD&D. I got just let people who drive by wonder, but I'll know. Never again. Never ever again. That like to have killed me. But no, groups did get that big, as I understand it. You know what, Alan, if you stop by during the interview I have with Rob, we can both ask him about this. But I believe Rob said that they would have sometimes 40 people with Rob at one end of the table running half, and Gary at the other end of the table running half.
That's cool.
Or it may have been as low as 20. but I know from Rob and Gary both that they've run by today's standards pretty bonkers huge groups.
I've had an idea for a long time. Now we're kind of riffing, but do you remember that old Judges Guild? I almost hesitate to say it online. Glory Hole.
Yeah.
The Dwarven Mine adventure.
Yes.
One kind of cool thing about that adventure is there were supposed to be lots of competing groups trying to get the treasure. And that particular adventure, I don't have strong feelings about one way or another, but the idea that captivated me when I read that adventure is I thought it'd be so cool to have like a tournament game where you've got like one big dungeon, 4 DMs, like with different groups, and they're all kind of in. And then at certain moments, the groups might meet, and they might fight each other, they might cooperate, but you're all. I think that there's actually room there for some creative kind of play that, probably has been done a little bit, especially in the early days. People did all kinds of crazy stuff, but that could be really fun for a con to organize something like that, like simultaneous exploration at 4 different tables, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I think about stuff like that sometimes.
Oh yeah, no, I think running groups like that could be a lot of fun. There's a great story, and it's floating around out there on the web. You can probably find it, but it is a play report as fiction called Expedition to the Black Reservoir.
I think I might have seen that many years ago.
Expedition to the Black Reservoir is awesome, and I actually approached Gary about writing that adventure. Like, let me take you ran the adventure. Let me take that story and turn that back into an adventure, kind of like a little Chinese telephone. But unfortunately, he said it's Greyhawk. It belongs to Wizards of the Coast. I can't do anything with it. So he said, that would be neat, but I can't.
Yeah.
But Expedition to the Black Reservoir, there's an event in the course of the story where a group is kind of going down the central one of the main stairwell shafts of Castle Greyhawk, and they run into a group of elves. There's like 100 elves occupying just this giant staircase landing. And the elves are initially not going to let them pass, and the reason is they say, well, our master has put us here to guard this entrance. And it was literally the another players at another date and time in the Greyhawk campaign. It was their it was their hirelings, basically. He had played, he'd found this, and he's like, I want to keep looting that, so I'm just gonna put my men at arms there and not let any other players pass through. And they were able to bluff or bribe or threaten their way past them. I don't remember what it was, but that's kind of that living environment. We have tons of people to play, kind of thing that can come up.
Yeah. I saw another question. Dwayne asked about plans for Fight On 18. Yeah, there we go. And I mean, we're already working some aspects of it. One thing that we've been trying to do is one of the things that people really like about Fight On is we've had this community mega dungeon that has is actually not. This is like maybe the best issue in a lot of ways, but it does not have a Darkness Beneath level in it. But every issue from 2 to 16 does. And I had intended to get the next one into this issue, but A, it's huge already, and B, we're still writing stuff for the final level. Some parts of that are new. Some parts of it may come from some very old dungeons that were at least partly inspiring it, but we may mine those. So we're writing it now. We're trying to get it all clear. And so there's going to be at least an installment of that, hopefully the whole thing, with definitely at least a playable part of it in the next issue, as we're kind of trying to wrap up that community mega dungeon. Levels 1 through 14 and some side levels have already been published, but the final level 15 is still yet to see press. So that's one of our big hopes for issue 18. There's also, I mean, yeah, it's going to be, my inspirations for putting these things together, the old Dragon magazine, obviously, Alarums of Excursions, the old fanzines, those are an inspiration. But honestly, a third inspiration is also the Arduin Grimoires. When you picked one of those up back in the 1970s, it's not really, I mean, it is, in Dave Hargrave's mind, it was a game. He had a system that he had developed out of D&D and his own stuff, right? But most of us who were reading it were like, this is like a huge, insane, wonderful collection of monsters and spells and house rules and stuff, for D&D. And so that's what I try to make every issue fight on, like every aspect of the game. And I mean, it's a lot of different games now, but they're all connected, Swords and Wizardry, OSE, Shadow Dark, Basic Fantasy. It's all this ferment that goes back to those old time D&D rules.
Well, you in that direction, you kind of touch on something that this is a constant bugbear of mine. This is a hobgoblin that troubles me to no end, and I'm going to unburden myself on you.
Is he a chieftain hobgoblin with 3 hit dice?
Fortunately, no, but he is a persistent bastard with a ring of regeneration. So
okay.
Look out. I am not the biggest fan of the OSR, and I want you to hear how I'm pronouncing that. Capital THE, capital OSR. It's strange. I feel like we were all kind of moving together in a loose flock from whenever you want to say the inset point was 1999, 2000. I feel like at some point I went to bed one morning with the idea of loose community, and then I woke up and there was, are you playing these games? Are you following these people? Are you reading these blogs? Are you using these terms? Are you reading all of these books in Appendix N? And I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I don't remember voting for any of you people to be the kings of classic D&D. There's one of those, and he lives in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, and it's not any of you people. I feel like sometimes perhaps that sudden onset hidebound growth that seemed to spring up was maybe not the best thing in the world for our end of the hobby. I think it's eased off of that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think one of the symptoms of it that still persists, there are corners of the internet, Reddit, excuse me, that if you go there and you go to an OSR discussion area and you start talking about AD&D, original D&D, basic D&D, BECME, Rules Cyclopedia, even second edition, it's that record scratch moment, and people are like, actually, we're talking about Microlight D6 White Hack. And I'm just like, you wouldn't have a game except for that. Am I getting too far afield? Am I the only person who feels that way?
Well, I know other people who feel the way that you feel, and I mean, I think it's a little bit unfortunate, if people like, a knave, a cairn, a white hack, great. I mean, you could do great stuff with Rules Light, OSR stuff, and I'm a little bit more, in the kind of Swords and Wizardry, Osric. I do like some lighter stuff. I mean, to me, it's all different ways of doing the thing that we do, right? But I guess I do have trouble sometimes when people are like, it's just got to be like this. that can be true with some of our AD&D friends too. I mean, you know, and again, if you're just talking about what you like, more power to you. Do it. I love it. And I do think we try to have stuff in Fight On that would be useful at a lot of different ends of the old school spectrum. But yeah, I mean, I don't like boundary policing either, Bill. I mean, it's you know, and it is
boundary weird. Policing. I like that. I like that term.
and I mean, in particular, like, you know, if it's you know, again, if it's what you like, fine. But this weird kind of system connoisseurship where it's got to be just this exact right slice of the. I mean, you know, again, if you're talking about your game, great. That's how you do things. I'm interested. If you're talking about what everybody ought to do, I'm not so interested anymore.
I think everyone should play AD&D, but not to the exclusion of anything else. I mean, all this stuff around me, this is not like a cardboard cutout. These are game books I have, you know, and AD&D is like 3 linear feet.
Yeah.
And then I've got hero system stuff. I've got Star Wars. I've got Call of Cthulhu. I've got Macross. I've got lots of stuff. The point is I've got lots of stuff. And I definitely think you should, you know, that people should enjoy things. I just feel like that there was a rise of hipsterism. I think that hit in the early 2010s.
I mean, if you want to look at it positively, which maybe you shouldn't, but if you wanted to look at it positively, you say, like, anytime you're successful, you're going to get hipsters, you're going to get political people, you're going to get grifters, you're going to get, and I mean, some of these people, you know, may even have good points of their own, but you know, it's a consequence of success. Ultimately, people are liking and playing the kind of things that we like and play. And, you know, maybe they don't all do it the way that you would or the way that I would. And maybe some of them are annoying, but you know, the good part of it is that it means these kinds of games are attractive to a lot of people because, you know, certain kinds of things, I goof off with all kinds of games. Sometimes games I play, there's like 10 guys, you know, like nobody's going to bother to show up and try to their hipster thing around because
right. And, you know, and that ultimately to me, I think is where it's at. You know, people ask me all the time, like when I talk about the free modules, I've got 5 that I wrote back in the day that I will give away the download link to.
I love what Praxis just said.
The best part of it. Well, I'm going to turn that inside out. And put Praxis on the spot here. Because I get people say, hey, do these work in 3rd edition? And I'm like, look, when you download them, I don't care what you do with them. But I get asked, like,
gamers do in the privacy of their own home.
Exactly. I'm not going to judge. I'm just going to stare at you judgingly. But no, all kidding aside, you know, people have asked, like, hey, would you ever consider making a conversion of these, like, for system that I like? And look, if I had 5,000 people email me tomorrow morning and say, we want the WGH series and the DD series written for Shadow Dark, I'd say, all right, pony up to the bar. Let's see the color of your money. And since there's so many of you, yes. But but the thing is, my attitude is this: when people sit down at my table, be it at a con, a local event, want to join my online game, and I say, have you played RPGs before? If they say, well, I played Shadow Dark, well, I played 3.5, well, I played, you know, 5th, well, I played Pathfinder, this, that, or the other, the first thing I say is not, I hate those games, and I really despise those games. I put on a big show of playing the character of the Dungeon Delver, this hard-headed, you know, I'll hit you with a Mace of St. Cuthbert if you say you like 4th edition. Actually, I will do that, but you know, it's if the way you got to OD&D or AD&D is by saying, I like Shadow Dark, and I hear this is like Shadow Dark but turned up to 11, then more power to you. Then Shadow Dark is a great game.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's an interesting riff on the kind of BX. I mean, I've run Shadow Dark. I'm actually running a Shadow Dark game at Page, and you know, for a long-term campaign, I don't think it's ever going to replace OD&D or AD&D for me. But for kind of like short to medium term, like BX type games, it's actually very nice. I think it's a good combination of rules and decisions overall.
Yeah, and I've watched there's a great YouTube channel, Dungeon Damsel, and they do a weekly play of Shadow Dark, and it's a lot of fun to sit and watch them play. And you know, I don't like, it's not sand in my gears. I'm not like, oh, why are you rolling that? You know, just let him go. So I think regardless of whether it's Shadow Dark or something like what was over here on the shelf? Oh, I think it's behind my white box set. Swords and Wizardry.
Yeah.
But if something brings you back to old school, if you're like, I like this, maybe I'll like this, then good. Play it, enjoy it. And if you walk away from AD&D going, I now want to play AD&D, then that's even better. But I'm not going to gatekeep on the grounds that you like pineapple on your pizza sometimes.
This is a fun one, the 7 Voyages of Xylarthan.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I see how some people go crazy with all the different rule systems, but I just feel like POD and PDF publishing has made it possible. You know what, in the late 70s or early 80s would have been a bunch of DMs sitting around arguing like, well, in my campaign, now we can all kind of write it up for each other and say, hey, check it out, you know. And
exactly that, you know, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about old ads in Dragon magazine. Like, you know, oh, I thought I could do, you know, one better than D&D. So I spent $75 at the copy place and printed up 300 rule sets and stapled them together. And now I'm going to spend the last $25 advertising in Dragon, and nobody bought them, you know? Whereas with a more open rule set, we, you, me, anyone else out there in the audience, when we get these good ideas, we can foster a sense of comity across the entire gaming spectrum. Again, regardless of whether you're making your own rule sets, your own adventures, or what have you. And your thoughts on that?
Agree. I mean, what's
fair enough.
Is there a question? I mean,
I just wanted your feedback on that, because
I agree. And I mean, one of the many kind of functions that I think Fight On has serves is that not all, but a lot of people have kind of used it as a springboard to develop their own stuff. I mean, you know, maybe some of his adventures aren't everybody's cup of tea, but, you know, Raggy wrote in some of our earlier issues when he was figuring out what he was doing. And, I mean, James M. already had Grognardia, but, you know, he wrote some adventures. And I think a lot of people who are kind of at that like advanced hobbyist level, Fight On is a great kind of proving ground to kind of decide, you know, do I like this kind of writing? Do I want to start trying to like sell my own modules and stuff like that? You know, and I think a lot of people have used it that way to kind of help develop their craft and share stuff as a kind of maybe intermediate step. And I think that's a great function for it. Some people also just like to write for the zine, you know, because it's fun and all that. But and so, you had that question from Alan up about creating community.
I thought that dovetailed nicely into that.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, that is what it was originally, was there was already really several groups of guys, you know, and Dungeon Delver and I were both in this scene back then in different parts of it, overlapping parts. But you know, we were all talking about the stuff online, and then some of us were like, "Hey, man, let's like do a magazine." And it's like, I was like, "Well, I did a role playing magazine in high school, kind of." So I'll go ahead and jump on this and see what we could do here. And people liked it, so we just kind of kept rolling with it. You know, but yeah, I mean, creating community, it's a little bit trickier now. One thing I kind of miss about the old bulletin board scene is that even though there were a lot of different bulletin boards and not everybody was on all of them, it was kind of easier to track down people and their writing. I felt, maybe I'm just showing my age here, but you know, now when I do the circuit, you know, I'm with one group on Discord and one group on Reddit and one group on Facebook. And then I might stop by Dragon's Foot or N-World just to see what's going on there because they're still around. But it seems a lot more dispersed in a way. It's a lot harder to like kind of get.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, there's people like, you know, sometimes like I'm trying to hit 10,000 subs on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm going to celebrate hosting by hosting an in real life convention, not just a virtual convention, but
cool.
absolutely. And by the way, for those of you who are playing along at home, we are currently at, let's see, come on YouTube, play nice with me. We are at 8350 subs on YouTube. Cool. So if you haven't already, click that subscribe button, click that bell icon for notifications. But I'll mention that periodically, like how close I've gotten, or, you know, I'll do a subscriber drive, as it were, and, you know, offer up the free modules if people stop by and subscribe. And so many people that I can send direct messages to. We have good conversations. These are people that, you know, our lives intersect slightly. I'll post up, hey, come subscribe to the YouTube channel. They're like, you have a YouTube channel? Like, yes, I have a YouTube channel. And then, you know, flip the script and go over, and there's people, you know, I interact with Heidi and Eric all the time. They're not on X, you know,
right.
They're not in that. So it has, as much as we talk about the sense of community, I think it has kind of popped off into separate bubbles. Yeah. And if you want to, you can go a little crazy trying to hop between all of them all the time. Like, you know, did I post this? Did I post this up to, you know, make an announcement post on YouTube? Did I post this on?
Yeah, X? I know.
Did I, you know?
And then you can't even take shortcuts because, like, for example, Facebook is a fairly good place to reach some groups of gamers, but Facebook's algorithms now, you have to remember to put the link in the comments, or only 3 people see your post. You know, it's it's, well, whatever. It's just a lot.
Algorithm games, man. It's a giant pain in the hinder. It's a giant pain in the hinder. So somebody, we this question may have gotten oh, here we go. Here's another one from Al. I told you, I warned you, he was the chief inquisitor of the channel. Do you like the tournament modules for their design that pressure the players more than normal?
Sometimes, yes. At tournaments, for example, they're great. I mean, my basic sense of it is yes. I like an adrenaline rush. I like players to sometimes feel scared or challenged. You know, I don't like a TPK. I mean, it has happened once or twice in my gaming career, but I'm no sort of killer DM. But I do like it to be close, and I you know, I do like the. Well, you know, I mean, it goes all the way back to, you know, Fritz Leiber or Robert Howard. You know, they all have stories where the heroes are running out of some tower that's falling down as they're to me in fantasy adventure gaming, that kind of thing kind of gets your heart pumping. So I mean, there are certainly some tournament modules that it feels a little bit more like a puzzle or like a, and that can be fun, but that's really more of like a tournament thing. But the pressure, yeah, actually, I do like the pressure. I think the game's more fun when the players are like, holy crap, what's going on? How are we going to get out of this? And they come up with some cool plan that just kind of saves them in the nick of time. I mean, that to me is kind of peak D fun right there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely get that. My issue is as a GM is I really want the players to get to the end of the adventure.
Yeah.
And I have to temper that with not soft pedaling the adventure.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I will absolutely crush a group of players and then feel a little bad about it because like they didn't get to see the end of the module. But
Yeah.
as the man once said, you pay to see these cards, son.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
So,
that's kind of how it is.
So I guess at this time of year, being a professor, you're as you said, you're wrapping up some papers, and then you kind of get a little bit off to put your feet up.
Yeah, I get a couple weeks off. You know, I mean, of course, we'll go right into to Christmas and all the family celebrations and stuff. But yeah, after that, I do get a week or a week and a half to just put my feet up and well, work right on. Honestly, is what I'll be doing. But you know, trying to get that Darkness Beneath level written and stuff like that. We got some great monsters for it. Alan Grohe is helping me with some of the monsters for it, and my friend Dell, I think, is going to be helping me with some of the writing. So I think it's going to be, or maybe I'll be helping him. He's got some ideas. It's hard to know who's actually going to write what, but we're all kind of working on it.
Excellent. Yeah, Alan. I mean, that's a major get. Game with him on Mondays. I can't say enough good things about Alan Grohe.
He's a great guy, and his friend John too. They're both absolutely great guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well, it looks like we have a question here. D. Wayne says, "Do either of us have a favorite module?" I know what mine is, but I want to hear yours.
Okay. Well, I have a couple answers to that question as usual. I'm maybe half of you are going to turn off the podcast when I say that. I absolutely love Tomb of Horrors. I love it.
Not this audience. You may have just gotten me 10 more subs, my friend. Tomb of Horrors is top.
I've run it 4 times, you know, end to end. Well, I mean, the end wasn't always the end, if you get what I mean. But
yes.
But so a single, I mean, okay, is that my absolute favorite? I don't know, but it's so perfectly what it is. And I know some people don't like what it is, but tough. It's great.
Tomb of Horrors is like the death metal album of the AD&D classic.
I know.
You know,
I know. I mean, I love the GD series. I mean, that's not one dungeon though, but I've actually had the pleasure of
saying G123 is cheating, by the way. So you don't get to say G123. No.
Yeah, right. But I've actually run that all the way through twice. And that's been a great pleasure of my gaming life running those. Dark Tower is I mean, the classics, you know, you start going down the list. I've played Dark Tower once, run it twice. I'm trying to think in terms of those early classics if there's one. I mean, Tomb of Horrors in some ways kind of really, it's just so clever. And I mean, I read it when I was a kid too. I was so impressionable, you know. That's when I ran. I never played that blind like I did with some of them, like Keep on the Borderlands and Dark Tower, and some of those other people ran for me before I ever played them. But Tomb of Horrors, it was the second dungeon I ever got. I got it at a store called Kitty World, which was a toy store. And you know, I took this thing home and I was like, my eyes were bugging out like at this horrible dungeon. It was you know. So it has a kind of special place for me. So those are some good ones.
For me, my favorite of all,
Uh-huh.
because there is there like it is a photo finish. It is a get the laser measurement device out level finish. But tops for me is Keep on the Borderlands.
Oh yeah, that's great. Absolute classic.
Keep on the Borderlands is the essential Dungeons and Dragons. It is this. I keep making these Led Zeppelin comparisons, and I'm not going to stop it. I'm not apologizing for them, but Keep on the Borderlands is the Stairway to Heaven of D&D
Yeah, it's
modules.
great.
It
It's
it,
great.
it it contains the essential everything
Mhm.
for D&D. I that was the book that I had for a year before I got a rule book, and I learned how to play by reading Keep on the Borderlands because
Totally plausible.
it's got the tables in it. It's
Mhm.
got it talks to you about how to be a good DM. It talks to you about how
Yep.
to treat newer players. Like, are there fewer players? Strengthen them up. Send a
Mhm.
veteran character with them. And it's I think if you had put one more page in there about how to advance characters and a little bit about character construction, B2 would have been just the basic D&D set
Yeah.
in a single booklet.
Yeah.
Um, but I absolutely love it. The one that is like 0.001 milliseconds behind it on the finish line is Lost Caverns of Sojkoth.
I'm gonna be running that very soon. That's a great
I
dungeon.
adore Lost Caverns of
Yeah,
Sojkoth. It
it's a
is
good one. I mean,
so Greyhawk. It is so,
yeah.
oh, I can't say enough good about Lost Caverns of Sojkoth.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to be running? I'm sorry, did you say you're going to be running it as an event or in your home
I'm
campaign?
actually that's what I'm gonna do for this student group I'm running for. I'm doing the double whammy of S4 and WG4 for them.
That was my next question. Those two
Yeah.
modules, I mean, if Gary had wanted, they could have thrown those into a box and said, "Look, here's a campaign.
Yeah.
Here's like a World of Greyhawk chunk that you
Yeah.
can run for months because you can."
Yeah, you can. And I have to say, at the time, I didn't really realize how good WG4 was until a long time after it came out. Just because by the time that came out, I was like running my own campaign and I was running a lot of my own stuff. And I was like, it had that weird cover, and I was like, okay, this looks kind of cool. I'll check it out. But then, every so often with these games, you go through a rediscovery of the classics. That is a tight module. It is good. It is really good, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to running it along with S4. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you about Keep on the Borderlands. I mean, that's an absolute classic. Um, as tournament adventures go, White Plume Mountain's always a good time. I mean,
You know what? When I got back into AD&D in the early 2000s,
uh,
after a hiatus, I I bought from Paul Stormberg. He ran auctions on Usenet, and I was just like, I want everything. I'm buying it all back, you know.
mhm.
And so I bought a raft of modules, and I had not played White Plume back in
Oh
the day.
yeah.
I had seen it, but I never read it. And I
Mhm.
read it and I was like, this is the stupidest thing in the world. I will never inflict this on my players. Um, right
It's so much
now,
fun though.
right now, I am looking at a styrofoam inverted ziggurat that I built to run that module. I have the menagerie that I built. I love that damn thing.
Yeah.
That module is so much fun. And not it's not Al Hammock. Why do I always do this? The module's author was embarrassed because he showed it to Gary to show off, like, well, this is what I can do for writing. And Gary was like, that's great. Let's publish it. He was like, that's not, I don't. But no, he published it, and it is so fun. It contains, as B2 contains the essentials of what you need to know to D&D. White Plume Mountain contains the essentials of what you need to know to embrace the gonzo of AD&D.
I think that's probably right. Yeah, there's just so much good stuff. And I mean, you know, a lot of times people start writing their own adventures. A lot of good adventures in Fight On. We've got you know, usually 3 to 5 adventures every issue, and you know, there's always at least a couple bangers, you know, so it's if you're looking for new stuff to run, I have a fanzine I recommend.
Right on. And right now, guys, you can let me see, do I still have that in the buffer? Oh yeah, well, there's the link. That nope, that is in the wrong place. There is the link where you can find Fight On drive-through, and I think I have your, let's see, right now, if you want 50% off issue 17, is it now?
Yeah, that's the current issue. 17 just came out, and it's for the PDF. We sell the print issues for just above cost. You know, and we do that because well, I mean, it's a fanzine. I'm not gonna go into all the details of this, but basically, yeah, I mean, often we're only charging $1 or so of overhead on the print issues. We want to get these out there into people's hands for people to play, and you know,
I want to, speaking of adventures and modules and stuff in Fight On, because you know, I think people are probably weary of a couple of neckbeards talking about the other stuff.
Back in the day.
Back in the day when I was your age, we didn't have dice. We just threw sand at each other. But no, the mega dungeon that you guys are doing, are you going to compile and do that as a standalone?
That is the plan. I have to say that I'm not as fast as I would like to be, but yeah, the plan is that there's going to be a standalone version of that at some point. And I think the process is going to be that we're going to chunk it out and do some like limited edition parts of it that you can buy. And then once that's all in place, we could be confident that maybe we could do a Kickstarter for the whole thing. You know, I've never done a Kickstarter. I think it probably would be a good way to do the mega dungeon, but I would never want to not deliver, you know? And so I've been trying to figure out, because it's a lot of material, and then there's some stuff that needs to be rewritten together. So it you know, I mean, you can run it out of the magazine. There's a lot, it's great, but you know, if you're publishing it as a standalone, you want it to kind of like make like coherent everything, you know. And so that work needs to be done, and I've got a kind of plan to do it in place. So the question is just how quickly can I do that while I'm working my job and getting the fanzine out and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, it is a plan. Once we get this final level written and published in the zine, then we're going to go on from there and you know, try to put it out as a project that people can get into.
Excellent. I definitely look forward to that. I'm going to try and get as much Fight On as I can.
Awesome.
But having the module in one place is gonna be pretty cool too.
Yeah, I think so too.
Definitely for sure.
And,
so
there's a lot of the levels have a lot of good stuff. But I think in particular, the levels that David Bowman wrote, sometimes co-wrote with me. Those have a nice kind of nuclear. They're good. I think they're really good. I mean, I think a lot of it. I don't want to toot my own horn because there's other guys who wrote for it are really good too. But I think some of those levels I wrote with Dave, Dave wrote, I wrote with him. Yeah, they're really good. I think I'm tooting my own horn, but I think they're really good, and I'd like to see them out there in a standalone.
Of course, man. Of course. A question here from Quest Gaming. How often now that you're back in the group, how often will Fight On be published? We're going back to quarterly?
I'd love to. I don't know if I can get a quarterly issue out if they get these size. The goal right now is 2 a year. We've been averaging more like 9 months so far, so we're not to that goal yet. But so there were 2 during this year, but you know, one of them came out January, February, and the other one came out November, December. So the goal right now is we want to get to every 6 months, and then if we can get that going well, and I have enough time and I get enough stuff, maybe we will try to go back to quarterly, which is what we started as was quarterly. I'm, we're committed to do it. It's going to be coming out regularly. Hoping. Yeah. Right. Thanks, Dwayne. I appreciate it. So that's the goal, but we want to make a nice product. And I think we did that with this issue. But I think we're, going to keep trying to push to get through it faster. But yeah, it's good.
Excellent, man. Excellent. So, is there anything we haven't kicked over? Any topics that you wanted to discuss? Anything like that tonight?
Well, I mean, there's a ton more stuff we could talk about. I think the show's been going for a good amount of time now. I was, there's crazy early days, gaming stories that are always, fun to tell, crazy things you saw in the early days of the hobby and stuff like that. And I definitely, I hope that Fight On can be one piece of a puzzle that helps keep that spirit alive, because, I do love the rules to these games and I love the systems that we play, but that kind of that spirit of creative energy, I think when I think back to the early days, that's the thing. I think that's really special, and I want to keep that alive as long as possible. And if people can do it with different kinds of game systems, different kinds of play, that's great. But this is what I know and love, and this is, so that's why I kind of want to work to keep it going.
Well, it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing, and I'm gonna let Gonzalo get the last question in off the audience tonight, because I am wondering about this too, and that is, do you guys take submissions?
Absolutely, we do. This is something that surprises some people. It's very informal. IGNATIUS@gmail.com. You can find my contact information on the website. You can send me manuscripts. You can pitch me on ideas. We need different things at different times. A lot of stuff, ultimately, I can work with people to get it in, but some stuff gets in faster because we need more of it, and I can talk to people about that. Right now, for example, I feel like we've got a fair number of good monsters and adventures, although we can always use more. I'm not getting quite as many in terms of variant classes, interesting house rules, NPCs. One thing I do like is sometimes people can share their own campaigns and worlds in interesting ways. And I love that. I love to just see what individual GMs are doing with their world, how they roll. That's awesome. Quest Gaming Network, I noticed, asked about social media. IGNATIUS Umlaut, you can find me on Facebook. That's probably the easiest way. I mean, I'm on Discord, but I don't have a fight on Discord or a fight on Reddit. Maybe we should get those things eventually if it keeps growing. I am on Discord and Reddit, and I talk to people there. But so I'm easy to find. But I think probably the best sort of central location is probably my Facebook page. Yeah, world regions are awesome. I love little gazetteers. It's cool. One thing I do like, I do publish some stuff that's more like pure vision, but it's nice if there's a little bit of like gameable content, maps, monsters, whatever it is, just like something to bring it to the table a little bit, I guess. I mean, I've even published fiction occasionally, but it is a gaming magazine, so you want stuff that like you can game.
Right on. Right on. Well, it was suggested by Gonzalo that I invite you to the Delvers Discord, and this is anyone else who wishes to join us for the madness. Right there is the link. You can hit us up over on Discord and come and have some fun.
Yeah, we'll do.
Excellent. Love
yeah, and actually, if you don't mind, Bill, if you could send me that link. I'm kind of tired here. I'm grabbing stuff off my computer.
Yeah, no worries. I will pop that in email. That link. Yeah, you know how you know how Discord is, though. If it sits a couple of weeks and it doesn't work, let me know, and I'll send it to you again, because they love to love to expire stuff on you. So I will.
That's an example of modern gaming. I played a great voice game on Discord a couple years ago. It was fantastic.
Yeah, they have awesome audio and video tools on Discord.
Yeah.
That's where my Monday night game is. People are like, ooh, what do you use? Roll20, tabletops? I'm like, no, we just go on Discord.
It was actually I think we were playing Basic Fantasy for that one, Chris Gonerman's game, but it was one of my proud moments as an adult player. We found this orc fortress in the woods, and so we pooled together all our characters' money, and we bought a light catapult and rolled it out into the woods and got a big barrel full of flaming oil and just
nice.
And so I set up the plan, and then the guy, he's one of these European players who's playing the halfling. The critical moment comes and he rolls a 19 on launching the catapult. So we were golden. So yeah, it was awesome.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, we're gonna swap some stories, man, the next time you're on.
Yeah, I love to do it.
After the first of the year, I'm gonna this is my month off when I only do three shorts a day, and the Christmas Dice Advent, and then a few interviews. So yeah, this is my downtime. So I feel you. But yeah, no, I'd love to have you on the show again, man.
Okay, yeah, I'd love to come back.
Thank you so much for being here.
And with one of our mutual friends, get the three of us on here or something, see how that goes.
I wouldn't hate that. So
sounds good.
Help yourself to some baklava and schnapps in the green room. I'm glad we were able to overcome the audio issues, and you have a lovely evening and a happy holiday to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much. You as well.
Peace. All right, everybody, that was the one and only Ignatius Umlaut. And guys, if you're catching up a little bit late, scroll back through the live to see the links where you can find you can find Fight On magazine. You can find them on Drive Through RPG. You can find them on their website. Get your PDFs, get your print copies. Absolutely fantastic zine. As for myself, tomorrow night, I ain't going to be here. I will be back on the 21st. Myself and the esteemed Rob Kuntz are going to have a sit down. It's going to be an afternoon. Don't miss that. And then the next time you'll see my smiling face outside of the Dice Advent calendars, don't worry, tonight's is coming, will be in the night, Christmas night. Christmas night, me and Mrs. the Dungeon Delver are going to spread some holiday cheer and have a wonderful time. Yeah, downtime. So thanks everybody for tuning in tonight. I want to give a special big thanks to Stephen Avery, member for 6 months, Doc Flamingo, 21 months, Rob Turner, who gifted 5 memberships tonight. Thank you. Alan Canning for the super sticker, and of course, Gonzalo for the super chat, and also Alan Canning for being our chief inquisitor tonight. As for the rest of you guys, have an absolutely wonderful evening. Thanks for sticking through all the nonsense with the sound issues. I apologize in advance, by the way, if when we run the outro credits, you guys can't hear the music. I'm not screwing with you. We've just been having some audio problems tonight. So regardless of whether you get attacked by an owl bear or not, well, you can watch it on the backside, Kabuki. It's just as good. Regardless of whether or not you get attacked by the owl bear. I love you all. Take care of each other. Peace. Good night.